she said. I'll be back late. That was the sentence that destroyed the old version of me. Not the cheating, not the hotel, not even the part where she slid her second phone into her blazer pocket like she was holstering a little secret weapon. No. It was how she said it. Casual, practiced, like I was background noise, like I was furniture. I'll be back late, Lena said, standing in front of the bedroom mirror, putting on lipstick she used to say tasted like melted crayons. She almost never bothered with lipstick for work unless investors were in the building, or there was press. Tonight was supposed to be team review, informal, no pressure. Her words. She called it a strategy session. At 8:40 p.m. in heels. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. At our condo in Portland, Maine, the bedroom runs narrow. You stand in front of the dresser and you can see yourself in the closet door mirror behind you. You get your reflection doubled. That means I had two versions of my wife in front of me when she said it. Version 1 looked stressed and professional. Hair bent smooth around her face, navy blazer, white blouse that wasn't white when she bought it. It was cream, soft, a little romantic. Now, it was tucked into slate gray slacks so tight if she sneezed, they'd probably apologize. Version 2, the copy in the mirror, looked excited. She didn't mean for that part to show, but it did. I leaned in the doorway, arms crossed. Calm. I wasn't calm, but I've always been good at acting like I am. I'm the guy who gets called when an access control panel dies at 2 a.m., and an entire wing of HarborGen Biotech can't get into the clean rooms. I don't get to yell. I get to fix it. That's my job. Don't wait up, she said. It's going to run late. I smirked. Don't worry, I told her. I've got company too. Her eyes flicked up so fast you'd think I threw a glass at her. That's the moment right there. Put a pin in it. Because that was when I knew. Not because she got caught. She didn't get caught. Not yet. You don't call somebody caught when they're still on offense. I knew because for a half second, her face opened, and I saw fear. Real fear. Animal fear. The kind of fear you don't feel unless you know you're guilty, and you think the other person might, just might, finally stop pretending not to see. Then, her face reset. Oh? She said, fake casual. Who? You know what's funny? I've taken apart high-voltage breaker boxes that were still hot, gloves or not. I've pried swollen lithium batteries out of half-melted lab laptops. I once crawled into a crawl space full of fiberglass dust to fix a chilled water line because the head of R&D had a meeting with investors, and heaven forbid his lab air be 2 degrees off. I don't scare easy. Her asking who scared me, because she already had a plan for whatever I was going to say. That means this wasn't a slip. This wasn't, I drank too much white wine with a coworker and something happened, like you'd hear on daytime TV. This wasn't an accident. This was rehearsed. I shrugged like it was all a joke. Friend, I said, you don't know her. Her, she said, looking straight at my face. She said her, like she wanted to scratch my eyes out for even saying it. That was cute. Yeah, I said. Okay, Lena said. Well, don't do anything stupid. That part almost got me to laugh. Don't do anything stupid. She adjusted her blouse, buttoned one extra button, unbuttoned it again because it destroyed the look, checked her lipstick. She smelled like that pear and vanilla perfume she always said made her feel too sweet, like a cupcake. She only wore it 2 times a year. Anniversary dinners, date nights. In other words, for me. Or I thought it was for me. She picked up her work phone off the dresser. Then she picked up another phone from her purse. The second one was matte black with no case and no pop socket. People with nothing to hide don't buy second phones with no case. I pointed at it. That's new, I said. This? She laughed. Too loud. HarborGen comms test device, for crisis drills. They want us using separate channels in case there's a data breach. It's annoying. I nodded, like that made sense. Right, I said. Her heartbeat was so loud, I could practically see her pulse in her throat. A nervous blush started just under her collarbone, crawling up. I knew that blush. That blush happened when she lied to my mother the first Christmas we were married and told her we loved the blender, and we definitely weren't going to return it and use the cash for car tires. That blush happened when she told me in July she was absolutely not texting anyone weird. She just forgot to clear her notifications. It's a tell. Boxers drop their left hand. Lena gets throat blotches. I'm serious, Evan, don't wait up, she said again. I'm serious too, I said. Have fun. She gave me one more long study, like she was scanning me for cracks. Then she left. Just like that. Purse, blazer, heels, door. I watched her walk down the hallway through the peephole. I watched her press the elevator button with her knuckle, not her fingertip, so she wouldn't smudge the polish she got at lunch. I watched her shift her weight onto her left hip while she waited, which she always did when she was already thinking about somewhere else. Then the elevator doors slid open, and she was gone. A minute later, my phone rang. "Hey, babe," Lena said. I heard voices in the background. Men, laughter, clinking glass. "Quick thing. We're starting earlier than I thought. I'm so sorry. I know I said I'd help you fix that leak in the bathroom. Can it wait till tomorrow?" "I'm a grown man," I said. "I can tighten a pipe." She let out a soft laugh, like relief in a bottle. "See? This is why I love you," she said. Then she hung up. Maybe you hear that and feel bad for me. Don't. Not yet. Put the sympathy coupon back in your wallet. I don't want it. Because the minute she hung up, I grabbed my jacket and followed her. You think I'm going to sit on the couch and wait like a rescue dog by the door while my wife lies straight into my mouth from an elevator? No. No, sir. I'm not stupid. I'm slow to anger, yeah. I'll let you get away with a lot if I care about you. But I'm not stupid. And I wasn't angry. Not then. Not really. I was curious. And that is so much worse. I didn't take my car. This is how people get caught like idiots. They tail their cheating spouse in their own car, with their own plates, and then they're shocked when someone says, "Hey, I saw Evan's Ford Escape circling the Harborview Hotel last night." Portland's not New York. You can't disappear here. People still make eye contact at grocery stores. Everybody knows who parks in whose space when there's a storm, and the plows make the lines vanish. I went downstairs, out the side door, and requested a rideshare from my phone. I watched the little icon on the map pull around from Congress Street. I zipped up my gray work jacket with the Harbor Gen patch on it. That patch is my best invisibility cloak. People look straight past you when you're maintenance. They step aside. They stop seeing you as a person and start seeing you as guy who replaces ceiling tiles. You can be in a boardroom and they won't lower their voices. You can be in a hallway and they won't stop flirting. You can hear everything. That's the first lesson, by the way. Remember it. The car pulled up. Old Civic that smelled like pine air freshener and stale fries. Driver was mid-50s, Red Sox cap, tired eyes. He glanced at me in the mirror, then back down to his app. "Harborview Hotel on Commercial?" he said. "Yeah," I said. He gave a little huh sound and looked at me again in the rear view like he didn't want to, but curiosity won. "You okay, man?" he said. "No offense. You look like you're about to do something you can't take back." "Wallet thing," I said. I kept my voice low and let a little tremble in. She left her insulin in her purse. Forgot it. I just gotta get it to her so she doesn't... His whole body changed. Neck loosened, jaw unlocked. His shoulders dropped 2 full inches. "Oh, hell," he said. Yeah, we can move. I'll get you there." People want to be heroes. Give them the right story, and they will carry you. He drove like he meant it. Rain spit against the windshield. The city outside looked like a postcard where somebody rubbed thumb grease over all the edges. Yellow streetlights smeared across the glass. We rolled through downtown toward the water. The Harborview sits down near the old port, tucked between overpriced seafood and a boutique home store that sells driftwood bowls for $300 to people from out of state who call Maine quaint. We slowed a block before the hotel. "Here good?" he asked. "Perfect," I said. I handed him a 20 for an $11 ride. The guy blinked, then nodded, then said, quiet, like we were in church, "Good luck." The Harborview Hotel looks like money wearing a raincoat. Warm lights behind big windows, brass fixtures, woven rugs. It's the kind of place that uses words like curated and hand-sourced. You walk in there and you smell citrus water and fireplaces and whatever they pump through the vents to make you think adult life should feel like this all the time if only you worked a little harder. I didn't walk in. You don't walk straight into the lobby when you're checking if your wife is lying to you. You circle first. You check the side entrance to the garage. Most places like that have a garage tucked under or behind for the guests who don't want street eyes. Dignity parking, I call it. I cut down the side alley and leaned in the shadow where the brick wall jutted. 5 minutes. 7, 9. On minute 10, an Uber Black rolled up. I could tell from the little sticker. Black Escalade, covered plates, tinted windows. It stopped not by the main doors, not under the pretty awning with the bellhop. It stopped by the side entrance. The back door opened. Lena got out. The Lena that stepped out was not the Lena who kissed my forehead on the way out of our condo. This Lena moved like her spine had lost weight, shoulders loose, head tilted a little too far, like she was laughing at something the driver said. Her hair was tucked behind both ears, which she only did when she was trying to look younger. Then he got out. Tall, navy coat, expensive, the fabric that doesn't wrinkle even in rain. The kind of jacket that says, I don't buy things, I invest. Close-cropped hair, gym shoulders, nice watch. He didn't touch her, not in public. But his body tipped toward her like there was a magnet between them. I didn't know his name yet, but I knew I hated him. You want to know the sick part? I wasn't mad because a stranger was touching my wife. I wasn't mad because she lied to me. I wasn't mad because she was smiling for someone else. I was mad because I recognized his type. I see his type at Harbor Gen all the time. Guys who say we when they mean you. Guys who forward emails to their assistants and call that managing. Guys who throw a stress fit over a coffee machine being out of oat milk and then call that high standards. Guys who look at people like me and decide in under 2 seconds if we're a threat or a tool. He's already decided I was the tool. That, right there, is what lit the fuse. They went inside through the side door, not the lobby. You need a key card to go in that door unless somebody's holding it from the inside for you. Which means this wasn't a first-time thing. Routine, rehearsed, practiced. I pulled out my phone. Not to take a photo, not yet. Later, sure, you get what you can get. But right then, I didn't want proof for a lawyer. I wanted proof for me. I wanted to be able to wake up tomorrow and not have my brain try to gaslight me. So I took 2 quick pictures. One of Lena stepping under his arm, one of the back of his head and his plate as he leaned into the car to grab his overnight bag. Then my phone buzzed. It was Lena. Hey, babe, she said, voice soft and worried. I am so sorry. It's going long. Don't wait up, okay? I promise I'll make it up to you tomorrow. I love you. I stared at the hotel door she'd just disappeared through. My mouth tasted like metal. I love you too, I said. And I hung up. I stayed where I was for a full minute, in the rain, feeling the first part of me crack. It didn't feel like heartbreak. It felt like when you're working under live power and you hear a hum you shouldn't hear. That low hum that means something is already melting inside the wall. You know what comes next is heat and fire and insurance calls, and maybe a new job. But for that 1 second, it's quiet. That was me. Then I smiled. Okay, I whispered. Game on. When you've been with someone for 10 years, you know what they look like in the morning after they cheat on you. It's not guilt, it's choreography. Lena came in at 5:40 a.m. How do I know it was 5:40? Because the bedroom door clicked, and I looked at my phone and it said 5:40, and my brain is a hard drive for numbers when I'm under stress. People think guys like me don't notice detail. They're wrong. Detail is my job. You think a clean room seal hangs on vibes? No. It hangs on tolerances. She tried to be quiet. She kicked her heels off in the hallway. She set her purse down on the kitchen counter without letting the strap scrape. She ran water in the sink to pretend she'd been up for a while. I stayed in bed, breathing steady, eyes half closed like a cat. She came into the bedroom in yesterday's blouse under a different blazer. The blazer was one she kept draped over her office chair for emergencies. Translation, walks of shame disguised as, I slept at the office working on the deck. The blouse had a wrinkle across the stomach that doesn't come from sitting at a desk. It comes from curling up on a bed with someone pressed against you. Her hair was reset, but not showered. Dry shampoo. She smelled like hotel soap and his cologne riding on top of her own pear vanilla. That hit me harder than anything. Smelling some other guy on my wife in my bedroom. I could have said something. I could have gone loud. A lot of guys would. A lot of guys would go full screaming daytime TV right there. Throw her phone. Demand names. I didn't. Because you only get one first reaction. You only get one first hit. You burn that too early, and you lose leverage. So I pretended to just be waking up. You're early, I mumbled. God, she said, rubbing her forehead. It was a nightmare. You have no idea. I'm going to call HR. I swear to God I'm calling HR. They can't keep us that long without notice. It's not legal. Uh-huh, I said. I'm serious, Evan. I'm going to log the hours. This is ridiculous. They can't just... it's almost 6 a.m. Look at this. Look at the time. It's almost 6 a.m. I haven't even brushed my teeth. Rough night? I said. If I see Daniel today, I'm going to destroy him, she said, digging through her purse. I filed that name. Daniel. She only said his first name. No title, no VP Hart, no Dan from Strategy, just Daniel. Like they'd had whole conversations that lasted hours and crossed state lines, and she had opinions about how he handled things. That's intimacy. She kicked off the blazer. She peeled the blouse and dropped it into the hamper, then caught herself, fished it back out, and stuffed it into the trash under the sink instead. That wasn't guilt. That was evidence control. While she showered, I sat at the edge of the bed and stared at the wall. The anger started to finally come in, slow and clean like a tide. It didn't explode. It crept. It filled my chest and my throat. It made my ears buzz. I felt steady, clear. I had something I haven't had in a long time. Purpose. This is what you need to understand about me. I'm not a violent guy. I'm not the dude who starts something in a bar. I don't have a record. I don't have a temper issue. If anything, Lena always said I was too calm. Like that was a flaw. Like that made me small. But I'm a systems guy. Give me a problem and I will break it down into duct tape and screws and timestamps until it fits in my hand. This was just a bigger building. I heard the water shut off. I walked to the kitchen, opened her iPad, and prayed she hadn't finally logged out. She had not. Her messages app was open to a pinned conversation with a gray circle tagged with just a D. I didn't even have to guess. I scrolled. Sometimes I think the universe wants you to snap, like it hands you a hammer and leans in and says, "Go on, I won't tell. You want the hits or no? Here you go." From Lena, 7:22 p.m. last night, while she was still in our condo telling me about late review. I need to see you tonight. I don't care if you're tired. I can't sleep next to him one more time pretending. Not pretending everything's fine. Pretending, period. Like me being next to her was a lie she had to keep acting out. From D, room set, same as last week, park on the side. I don't want your plates on camera. He was careful. Of course he was careful. From Lena, God, you're smart. From D, I know. From Lena, 12:48 a.m. He's so comfortable. You don't understand. He'd live like this forever if I let him. Same couch, same bills, same two-block life. I can't do it. I feel like his mother. That one, I had to sit down for. I felt something snap in my chest when I read that. Not because she insulted me. She'd insulted me before. Married people insult each other all the time, and then you both pretend you didn't. No. It was the plan under it. You see it? Same couch, same bills, same two-block life. That's not a complaint. That's a sales pitch. That's her telling him, I'm already writing the breakup story where he's the sad, childish man I outgrew. I'm building the script. I'm getting sympathy. I'll be the brave woman who had to leave. You're the hero who rescued me from the swamp. I scrolled more. From Lena, 2:11 a.m. Timeline is still the 15th. Jess can cover me that weekend. She'll tell him I'm with her. We'll list the condo next week. I'll say it's too much square footage for one person. He can't float it alone, and he can't stop me from selling if I play it right because technically, I'm co-owner. He'll have to let it go. Read that again. We'll list the condo next week. We'll list my home, the home my dad helped with when he was still alive. The one piece of real safety I had in this whole stupid life. We'll list it, we'll cash out, and then she'll run off to Daniel's rental, and I'll be left holding debt I didn't even sign for. And she's bragging about it like it's a Pinterest board. The anger stopped being anger. It turned into something colder. I scrolled further down to 3:03 a.m. when I was home asleep, and she was in that hotel bed with her second phone in her hand, whisper, texting in the dark. From Lena. Promise me you're not going back to the old version of you. I can't handle the mood swings. I can't do the yelling. I'm done with yelling. If you blow up again, I'm gone for real. I mean it. From D. I'm not like that anymore. You know that. I'm in control now. From Lena. You scared me last summer. Don't do that again, please. From D. I told you, I'm in control now. That right there was the first time I thought, you might actually be dangerous. Not because he said it, because she had to ask. People don't ask, promise me you won't go back to the old you, unless the old you came with holes in drywall. The shower cut off. I closed the iPad and slid it back to where she'd left it on the table. I looked around our kitchen. Cheap cabinets peeling at the edges, coffee maker with a crack in the handle I kept meaning to glue, stack of mail on the counter. On the top of the stack was a credit notice I didn't recognize. APR 19.9. Minimum payment due. My name. Her handwriting faked in blue ink. That was the moment I stopped being the safe one. That was the birth of the other version of me. Call it petty, call it cruel, call it what you want. I know what it was. It was survival. Most people picture biotech like labs full of white coats and glowing blue samples that cure cancer. HarborGen is 20% that and 80% office park with better lighting. Concrete, glass, card access points at every door, cameras everywhere, motion sensors, air quality monitors that trip alarms if you spray cologne in the wrong hallway. Anything that can leak, buzz, hum, blink, flash, log, or trip a breaker, I'm your guy. Job title, Facilities Engineer 2. What that really means is this. I know where every blind spot in that campus is. I know which cameras are fake because somebody in accounting decided to save 40 grand. I know which badge readers beep red but still let you through if you push hard. I know who's cheating on who, in which sub-basement storage closet, and which VP keeps an emergency shirt rolled up behind the CO2 scrubber. You keep your mouth shut, you get to live in the walls. I clocked in Friday morning on zero sleep. Rain still in the air. My eyes felt like I'd lined them with sand. Lena was already in the building when I got there. I saw her down the main hall, near the glass conference rooms that make the whole first floor look like an aquarium. She'd done full corporate face, hair blown out, makeup dialed, silk blouse, no blotchy throat, no sign she spent the night in a hotel bed texting another man about selling my condo out from under me. If you didn't know her, you'd think she was fine. If you did, you'd see it. The tightness around the mouth, the way her eyes kept scanning for him. Then I saw him. Daniel Hart. VP Strategy, HarborGen Biotech. Worth about 4 overpriced watches, 2 affairs, and 1 fake humble laugh that makes assistants want to quit. I knew his face from the town hall slide decks. You ever see a guy pose in his own headshot like he's thinking big thoughts for the future of humanity? Chin tilted just a little. Smile like he's selling vitamins on a podcast. That was him. He was standing 3 feet from my wife, and they were doing that thing. That careful distance thing. That, we're colleagues and we respect each other's contributions. Body language. Too careful. If I hadn't seen the texts, I'd know anyway. He had his wedding ring off. Tell me again about the crisis comms session, Lena. He noticed me first. That's the part that burned, not because he noticed, because of how he noticed. He gave me a once-over like I was HVAC. He gave me that polite smile guys like him give people like me. Hey, man. You know that smile. The head nod with no eye contact. The smile you save for the valet. I didn't smile back. Lena turned. Her face did that glitch thing again. Half second of panic, then smooth. Hey, babe, she said, all bright, like we were cute in front of her boss. What are you doing here? I looked at her, then at him. Got called for a sensor fault in 2B, I said. Filter's acting up again. Gotta keep your air clean. Don't want anybody breathing something expensive. Daniel fake laughed. It was soft and condescending and automatic, and I wanted to break his front teeth on a curb. That's important work, he said. It's honest work, I said. His smile twitched at that. He didn't like the word honest. Guys like him want words like strategic and innovative. Honest is a mirror. For a beat, nobody spoke. Then Lena said, too fast, we were just talking about Q4 messaging. Cool, I said. Anyway, I'll see you later, she said, voice a little tight. Looking forward to it, I said. I held his eyes when I said it. His smile faded half an inch. Good. I walked away slow, like I wasn't burning up inside. As soon as I hit the corner, away from the glass, I ducked into a service hallway. The kind most people pretend not to see because it's uncarpeted and smells like mop water. I leaned against the cinder block wall and breathed hard through my nose. Every part of me wanted to go back out there and rip them both in half in front of the entire building. Instead, I pulled out my phone. I texted Priya. Priya works in people ops, which is HarborGen language for the person who sees the real HR files and the real skeletons and the unofficial complaints everyone hopes never see the inside of a lawyer's office. Priya likes me because I once fixed the AC in her office during a July heat wave and didn't make a thing of it. Also because I talked to her like a human, not like a service request ticket. Me. Hey, hypothetical. If someone was thinking about moving out and wanted to know if they lose their housing stipend, if they move in with someone else from work, would they ask you or finance? PRLYA. Good morning to you too, Evan. Priya. That sounds like a me question. Why? Me. Just curious. Lena mentioned something about benefits changing if I move in with someone. I didn't get details. Priya. Lena asked me the same thing yesterday, actually. About whether the relocation preference applies if it's interdepartmental cohabitation. Her words. I said no. Why is something going on? My throat went cold. Interdepartmental cohabitation. They weren't just sleeping together, they were organizing their future. On my spine. Me. All good. She's just planning like always. You know Lena. Priya. Yeah. I know Lena. Priya. Please tell me she isn't making you sign anything stupid. Me. Define stupid. Priya. Anything with joint liability and your name spelled wrong. I stared at that for a long few seconds. Joint liability. Credit cards. Lines of credit. Fake signatures. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. I locked my phone. I walked to sub-basement level 1. People think the most important floors in a biotech campus are the clean rooms and the boardrooms. Wrong. It's sub-basement level 1. That's where the servers live. That's where the building brain lives. And that's where security runs its monitors. Badge access required. Lucky me, I have badge access everywhere, because if I can't get in to fix your failing vent system and your humidity spikes, you're losing millions in spoiled inventory. Alana was on shift. Alana's a security supervisor on nights, but she floats mornings when someone's out. She's sharp, quiet, and built like she could carry you out of a fire without breaking stride. She grew up here, like me. She doesn't like corporate suits. She does like that I'm polite and I don't treat her like a mall cop. Sensor in the dock corridor pinged red on my console. I lied, stepping into the room. Alana frowned and leaned over her screens. I'm not seeing a red ping. Yeah, it's intermittent, I said. Might be a jitter on the line. Mind if I patch the feed so I can check the port? Saves me a trip to the far closet. She shrugged. Knock yourself out. I slid into the empty tech chair, pulled up the archived footage feed for Loading Dock A from the last week, and scrubbed. Loading Dock A is where after-hours VIPs sneak in without having to badge at the lobby. Shipments come through there, so do people who don't want to be seen. Thursday, 10:12 p.m. There it was. Harborview hotel bags. Lena, Daniel, using the company loading dock like their private tunnel. Holding hands, for exactly 3 seconds, just long enough to make my stomach feel like it caved in. Any luck? Alana said over my shoulder. Yeah, I said. Loose connection. I'll tighten it. Thanks. She nodded and went back to her crossword. I dragged my thumbnail along my palm hard enough to leave a white line. Okay, I thought. We're done pretending. Now we play my game. That night, Lena acted like nothing had happened. I acted like everything had happened. That's how marriages die, and you don't even need lawyers yet. When I got home Friday, she was at the stove, pan-searing salmon the way I usually do it. She's not the cook in our house. She can do eggs and microwave rice. I cook. It's our rhythm. So her cooking salmon made the hair on my neck stand up. She glanced over her shoulder at me like we were some sitcom couple in a commercial for domestic peace. Hey you, she said. I figured I'd take care of dinner. You always do it. It's my turn. My turn. Like marriage is a chore wheel. Wow, I said. Look at you. She smiled like that was normal to hear. How was work? She asked. Busy, I said. Same, she said and laughed. God, Daniel is on one this week, I swear. He's driving everyone insane. He was literally pinging me at 4 this morning. 4. Like boundary issues, much. It's not healthy. She said his name so I wouldn't have to ask about him. That was strategy. Get in front of the topic. Control the story. If she paints him as annoying, she thinks I'll stop thinking of him as a threat. Maybe you should tell HR, I said, and smiled. She blinked once, like that answer wasn't on her script. Then she turned off the burner and plated the salmon and overcompensated with lemon, like she always does when she's nervous about seasoning. We sat at the little 2-person table that used to feel cute and now felt like an interrogation room. Do you hate me? She asked all at once, halfway through pretending to eat. That hit me, not because of what she asked, because of how her voice sounded. Tiny. I set my fork down. Why would I hate you? I asked. Her eyes were shining already. She is a fast crier. She can snap to tears in under 5 seconds. First time I saw her do it, I thought she was the most honest person I'd ever met. 10 years later, I know it's a tool like anything else. Because I've been off, she said. I know I've been off. I know I've been distant. And I know that's not fair to you. Distant, I said. She nodded hard. Yes. Distant. That's all? I said. Her lip wobbled. What do you mean all? What are you saying, Evan? What are you implying right now? Because I swear to God, if you're accusing me of something after all I do for this house. Look at the speed. Look how fast we flipped from, do you hate me, to after all I do for this house. It's like watching a magician force a card. I leaned back in my chair and watched her. I let the silence sit so long she had to fill it. Her shoulders curled in. I just feel like I'm carrying everything sometimes, she said, voice small. Like I'm the only one thinking about the future, you know? Like I'm the only one thinking about what's next, where we're going, how we get there. You're so comfortable. You're so comfortable, Evan. I feel like I'm suffocating. I feel like your mom. Do you understand how that feels? There it was, out loud. There was the script she'd been practicing in Daniel's bed. I'm the child. She's the caretaker saint. I almost laughed. I swear to God, I almost burst out laughing right there in our kitchen because of how clean it all lined up with the text I read that morning. Instead, I nodded slow. That must be hard, I said. Her eyes flooded. She reached across the table and put her hand on mine like we were in couples therapy. It is, she whispered. I flipped my hand under hers and squeezed. "I hear you," I said. She blinked. That's not what she expected. She expected me to explode, to yell, to give her the recording she needs to sell me to her sister and to Daniel, and to anybody else who needs a bedtime story about why she had to leave poor, broken Evan. I'm not yelling. Not yet. Right now, I'm smiling like the patient on the gurney who already palmed the scalpel. We finished dinner, in a weird quiet. She showered, slow. I could hear the water running longer than usual. She always showers long when she's rehearsing lies in her head. She'll play through 6 versions of a fight before she ever has it. I sat on the couch. I pulled her iPad again. This time, I didn't scroll the romance garbage. I scrolled the money, shared files, cloud drive, insurance docs, mortgage docs, all that boring domestic paperwork people don't think is attractive until divorce court makes it interesting. What I found under a folder called Taxes Final was a scanned doc with my signature on it. Problem was, I never signed it. It was an application for a revolving credit line against our condo equity. Primary, Evan Blake. Co-signer, Lena Blake. Requested draw, $42,000. Purpose, emergency home repair, roof replacement. That would have been a funny joke if it didn't make my stomach roll, because our roof is fine. I fixed flashing up there myself last spring. I had the photos in my phone to prove it. And that credit line? It was open, not requested, approved, open, money already out. So yeah. Now I'm mad. I closed the iPad, stood up, and walked to the bathroom door. The shower was still running. "Lena?" I said. "Yeah?" She sounded almost scared. "I'm heading to bed," I said. "Oh, okay," she said. "We good?" I said. Silence for a second. Then, soft as tissue. "Yeah, we're good." "Great," I said. I walked to the bedroom, lay down on my side of the bed, and stared at the ceiling. "I'm the only one thinking about the future," she'd said. "Fine. Now I'm thinking about it too." You ever stand in a parking garage at night? I don't mean walk through it. I mean stand in it. Just stand. Lights buzzing. Wind coming in through the concrete openings and howling like a throat. Your footsteps echo when you shift your weight even an inch. You can smell rubber and oil and cold metal and that faint rot smell from the drains. It's a good place to corner something. Friday night I put my plan into motion. Some people think revenge is rage. It's not. It's logistics. Step 1, you pick the field. For me, that was the Old Port parking garage next to the harbor view, 3rd level, half lit. Half the cameras work, half don't, and I know which half. Step 2, you create a situation the other guy can't afford. Not won't like. Can't afford. Guys like Daniel, you don't scare them by saying, "I'll hit you." You scare them by saying, HR will hear you yelling at a maintenance guy in public, and they'll smell lawsuit, and you'll be radioactive by Monday. So I dressed like Harborgen, gray jacket, patch on the chest. I waited. At 6:12 p.m., his navy coat came around the ramp. He wasn't alone. Lena was a few steps behind him, wearing a different blazer, hair up, sunglasses on her head even though the sun was already down. She was talking fast, hands up, like she was trying to explain something, and he wasn't giving her the answers she wanted. They hadn't seen me. Not yet. I stepped out from between 2 concrete pillars and said, in my professional voice, "Mr. Hart, I need a word." They both froze. Daniel turned slow like a shark who just picked up heartbeats in the water. For half a second he didn't recognize me, because in his head I'm not a person. I'm background. I'm a function. Then the recognition hit, and his jaw sharpened. "This isn't appropriate," he said. "Yeah," I said. "Neither is company time at a hotel, but here we are." Lena's face went white, then red. "Evan," she whispered. "What are you doing here?" I ignored her. I kept my eyes on him. "We can do this polite," I said quietly. "Or we can do it loud. Your call." He laughed. It came out high and tight. "I don't know what you think you're trying to pull," he said, stepping closer to me, like he thought he could big dog me. "But if you don't turn around and walk away right now, I'm going to make one call and you are going to be unemployed before you hit your pillow tonight. You hear me?" Lena grabbed his arm. "Daniel!" she hissed. There it was. Daniel, not Mr. Hart. He shook her off like she was lint. "You think you can threaten me?" he said, getting louder, pointing at my chest. "Do you have any idea who you're talking to right now? Do you have any idea what kind of exposure you're opening Harborgen up to with this behavior? Do you have any idea how fast I can crush you if I decide to?" I leaned in until my nose was 2 inches from his. "Shut your mouth," I said, calm. He blinked. "I don't think you understand," I continued, same quiet voice. "I'm not here to cry. I'm not here to plead. I'm here to give you the best chance you're going to get." His face twitched, anger, confusion. Under that, fear. Good. Here's what you're going to do, I said. You're going to stop using my name for anything. You're going to stop planning my eviction. You're going to stop talking to my wife like she is a thing you're test driving. And you are going to tell her you are done. Tonight. In front of me. Daniel let out a short bark of a laugh. You're insane, he said. You're absolutely insane. Lena whispered. Evan, please. I didn't look at her. Daniel jabbed a finger at my chest. If you don't walk away in the next 3 seconds, I will call the police and have you trespassed from this property, and then I will have you blacklisted from every facility job in a 50-mile radius. You will never work again. Do you understand me? Do you understand who you're dealing with here? That little speech told me 2 things. 1, he was scared enough to flail. 2, he thought jobs like mine were disposable, which means he never did one in his life. See, I think you don't understand, I said. Then I moved. Not a punch. Not yet. I brought my hand up hard and slapped his chest with my palm, shoving him back into the concrete pillar. It made a nice flat smack sound, loud, echoing, carried. He stumbled. His eyes went wide like I tased him. Hey, he gasped. What the? I leaned in close so only he could hear me. I'm going to say this once, and then we're going to test how loud you really want this to get, I whispered. You lay another finger on my life, I will walk into your house and hand your wife screenshots of every text you sent my wife. I will sit on her couch and pour her water while she reads. I will answer questions. I will stay until she finishes. Nod if you understand me. His face drained. He swallowed. There it was. He nodded. Lena made a soft, choking sound. Evan, what are you doing? She whispered. Stop. You can't. This is crazy. People are going to see. Good, I said without looking at her. I hope they see. Daniel's mouth worked like a fish. He tried to recover his voice and his dignity at the same time. It didn't work. You are in so much trouble, he hissed, trying to make it sound like a threat instead of a plea. You have no idea who you're messing with. I'm serious. I'm serious. This is harassment. This is... Yeah, I said. Keep using that word. It sounds great in your voice. Say it louder. Give me my keys, he snapped. I held them up and smiled. He went red all the way up his neck. He lunged. He wasn't a fighter. He was a lunger. Wild grab, no control, all ego. I slid to the side like I'd done this 100 times, and he stumbled past me and cracked his knuckles against my car mirror hard enough that I heard bone thud. He yelled. Lena gasped. That was good theater. We made noise. We drew eyes. 2 people down on level 2 popped their heads over the railing to look up. What the hell is going on up there? One of them yelled. Nothing, Daniel shouted back, voice ragged. Mind your business. Ooh. Bad move, Danny. People love being told to mind their business. That's when phones come up. I jogged to the edge of the level, dangled his keys over the side, and let them go. They bounced once on the concrete ramp below, skipped, then shot out under the back wheels of a delivery truck rolling by on its way out. I heard the crunch pop as metal met tire. Daniel made a sound like somebody was stabbing him. Are you insane? He screamed. Yes, I said. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He went for me again. Head down, fury first, sloppy. This time I just put my hands up and let him shove me backward a couple steps. To anybody watching from the level below, or from the corner cameras that actually worked, it would look like he's attacking me. Which was the point. Evan, stop it! Lena cried, her voice high and thin. Daniel, stop, please! You're going to get us all in trouble. Please, stop! Sirens wailed faint behind us. Somewhere down on Commercial Street, a cruiser hit its lights. Good. Noise attracts noise. I leaned in close to his face one more time. He smelled like high-end aftershave and adrenaline sweat. This is your only warning, I whispered, calm. You back off. You walk away. You forget my wife's name. You forget mine. Or the life you think you're about to have blows up in your face so fast it'll strip the paint off your teeth. His mouth twisted. You can't. I can, I said. And I will. He tried to stare me down. He broke first. They always do, the ones who think power means volume. He backed up, shaking. He looked at Lena, not at me, at Lena. He wanted her to fix it. He wanted her to make me stop. He wanted his girl to step in and soothe the scary maintenance guy. Handle this, he snapped at her. Then he turned and stomped down the ramp toward his murdered keys, cursing under his breath, favoring his right hand like it hurt. Lena stared at me, breathing hard. You can't do that, she whispered. You can't just... Evan, you can't do that. Watch me, I said. Her face contorted. For a second, real anger flashed. Not guilt anger. Territorial anger, like I'd just peed on something she thought was hers now. You embarrassed him, she spat. In public. Do you have any idea how that looks for me? Do you have any idea what you just did to my career? I laughed right in her face. Your career, I said. Wow, that's what we're worried about here. Your career. She opened her mouth. Shut it. Opened it again. You need help, she whispered. This isn't you. You're scaring me. Good. That was the first honest thing she'd said to me in months. Saturday morning, I went to see Jess. Jess is Lena's little sister. 26. Barista. Tattoo behind her ear she got after their mom said getting a tattoo means you don't respect your body. Jess likes being the one who knows secrets. She likes being the witness. You give Jess a secret, and she will hold it, not because she respects you, but because she loves having something sharp in her pocket. She works at a coffee shop 3 blocks from the condo. I walked in around 10. Rain had stopped, but the sky still hung low and gray. The place smelled like espresso and burnt sugar and damp coats. Jess spotted me right away. Oh God, she said, eyes wide. Are you okay? That's the fun part. I hadn't said a word yet. I'm fine, I said. You look like garbage, she said. No offense. Thanks, I said. Is Lena okay? Her voice dropped when she said Lena's name. Nervous. Guilty. That told me a lot. We're talking, I said. Jess bit her lip. She leaned across the counter, close. Okay, look, she whispered. Please don't be mad at her, okay? Please. She just needs... Look, you get comfortable, Evan. You do. You know you do. And she just needs... excitement. For once. She's been momming you for like years. She just needs to feel like a woman and not like a babysitter. It's not about you. It's about her. I let that sit in the air like a fart in church. Jess's eyes went huge. Oh my God, she whispered. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. Please don't tell her I said that. Please. She'll destroy me. She will literally kill me. Relax, I said. I'm serious, Jess hissed. I'm serious, Evan. She will cut me off. She will tell Mom I was meddling, and then Mom will call me, and I'll have to hear about how I'm destroying the family all weekend. And I can't. I cannot do that again right now, okay? I'm already covering for her with Mom about next weekend. My brain clicked. Next weekend. Covering. What's next weekend? I asked, keeping my voice low and soft. Jess shut her mouth so hard her teeth clicked. You didn't hear that from me, she whispered. Right, I said. Of course not. She twisted the rag in her hands. She's moving out next weekend, Jess blurted in a rush, like she physically couldn't hold it. Okay? There. I said it. Don't freak out. She's moving in with... Look, don't freak out. It's not like she's leaving you with nothing. She's not a monster. She's selling the condo and splitting it. She said you'll be fine. She said you'll land on your feet. She said you always land on your feet. Don't make that face. Evan, stop. Oh my God. Nothing in me moved. Outside, my face probably looked calm. Inside, the temperature dropped 20 degrees. She's selling the condo, I said. Jess nodded fast. It's for the best. For both of you. She can't breathe there anymore. She says every time she walks in she smells you. Like old laundry and motor oil and, I don't know. She said it's like living in a garage. Don't get mad, I'm just repeating. And she says you can't float it alone. Financially, not at these rates. And it's not fair to expect her to keep paying for something she doesn't even want and isn't even staying in. She said you'd understand if you really loved her. There it was. Not, we're splitting, not, we're figuring it out. She already told everyone how it's going to go. She's the brave woman leaving the man-child. I'm the man-child. And she's already running PR on the story, so she looks like a hero for walking. I took a breath. Does she know I know this? I asked. Jess shook her head so hard her messy bun bounced. No, God, no. Do not tell her I told you. She'll ice me out. Last time she iced me out, I didn't talk to her for 4 months and Christmas was a mess, and Mom made me feel like I drowned a puppy. Please, Evan, I'm begging you. I nodded. Okay, I said. Jess let out a long sigh of relief. Thank you, she said. God. Okay. Good. Because honestly, she needs this. Like, spiritually, you know? She needs to feel like a woman, not like someone's mom, because that's not what marriage is supposed to be. And you'll be fine. You're tough. You always land on your feet. She said that. She kept talking. I didn't hear the rest. Because in my head, I was already in our kitchen, sitting across from Lena at that stupid 2-person table, watching her sign. She thinks she's going to walk out of my house with cash in her pocket, and a new set of keys in her hand, and some VP's arm around her shoulders, while she gives some tearful story about how she tried. She really tried. But sometimes love just dies. Okay? No, we're not doing that. Saturday afternoon, Harbor Jen hosted one of those leadership alignment sessions down at a rented waterfront space with glass walls and catered sandwiches that taste like money and cardboard at the same time. Normally my weekend doesn't include corporate leadership. This time, I made sure it did. See, here is where being invisible facilities guy pays off. Half an hour before kickoff, I got a text from Mike, one of the older techs. Mike, AV rig for the offsite just ate itself. Alana said you were around. You want OT. Overtime on a Saturday. Double pay. And a chance to get in the room with my wife's boss and the man who wanted to steal my home and call it a self-care journey. Yes. Yes, Mike. I do want OT. I showed up with a rolling cart of cables, adapters, and a face like I was only there because someone begged. The room was all glass and view. You could see the harbor through the rain streaks like a postcard crying. The execs were all standing in little clusters with branded notebooks. Lena stood by the far wall, straight-backed, smile bright but tight at the corners. Daniel stood near the front with a tablet in his hand, half listening to some senior VP while pretending to care. He looked jumpy, sleep-deprived. His right hand was swollen across the knuckles. I almost smiled. Thank God, Priya whispered when she saw me. The HDMI splitter's not reading. Daniel's freaking out. He's already yelled at 2 people. He's on edge. I'm telling you, that man is about to have an incident. Yeah, I said. Let's hope. She gave me a weird look. Be careful, she muttered. I'm serious, Evan. He's not stable. I'm counting on it, I said. She blinked, then drifted away. I crouched behind the rolling AV rack, plugged in my little laptop, and synced to the projector. It took 30 seconds. I didn't hack anything. I didn't need to. Daniel had been helpfully texting me non-stop since last night. Angry, panicked, threatening. I had an entire thread of him sounding like a mess. All I had to do was set my laptop as the active input instead of his tablet. Daniel walked to the front of the room, cleared his throat, and did that fake, humble smile. Okay, he said. Let's align, yeah? Q4 is going to be about discipline, control, and messaging, and Lena here has been absolutely instrumental in... Can we get the deck up? Yep, I said from the back. Coming right up, Mr. Hart. I hit one key. The big wall monitor blinked. Then, instead of a clean Harbor Jen logo and a bullet list about narrative coherence, 30 feet of Daniel's text messages to me lit up the room. Daniel. You crossed a line last night? Daniel. You think you can threaten me and walk away? Daniel. This is harassment. Daniel. We need to talk without your wife finding out about any of this, Daniel. You do not want to make an enemy out of me. The room went silent. It was beautiful. No one breathed. Lena made a sound like someone stepped on her throat. Her face went red all the way down to her collar. Priya covered her mouth with her hand like she was hiding a smile and a gasp at the same time. Daniel's face went sheet white and then blotchy red. Turn that off, he snapped. His voice cracked on off. Sorry, I said, frowning exaggerated confusion. That's weird. I thought that was the Q4 deck? My bad. Must have hit the wrong source. Give me a second. A couple of the older VPs looked from Daniel to Lena, then back to the screen, then at me, then at each other. You could hear the math happening in their heads, because if you're a senior VP and you just watched a subordinate's angry paranoid, we need to talk without your wife finding out, messages pop up in a room where HR and comms are both present, you smell lawsuit, you smell scandal, you smell not promotable this cycle, and you pull back. Like that, Daniel went from golden boy to liability. He knew it. He panicked. Shut it off, he barked louder. Shut it off now. Are you deaf? I said shut it off. What the hell is wrong with you? Do you have any idea what you're doing? Do you have any idea the exposure you just created? Do you even think... Every syllable was another bullet in his own foot. Because he wasn't yelling at me in private, he was yelling at facilities in front of HR and 2 C-levels. You don't do that in 2025 and walk away clean. You just don't. Sorry, sir, I said, keeping my voice neutral and just a hair shaky. Just trying to help. You told me to get the deck. I'm doing my best. The room watched him talk to me like garbage. The room watched me stay polite. The room watched Lena slowly bleed out through her expression. Perfect. Daniel realized what he'd just done about 2 seconds too late. He shut his mouth. He did a full-body inhale, like he was trying to swallow the last 10 seconds back down his throat. And he smiled. It was the worst smile I've ever seen on a living person. We're good, he said, voice so fake sweet it made my teeth itch. Thank you. Just a tech issue. Totally fine. Let's reset. Everybody okay? Good. Let's reset. Nobody answered. That happens in real life more than you'd think. People think drama explodes and everyone screams and throws papers. Sometimes, yeah. But most of the time, real-life drama is quiet. It's a slow leak. You watch respect drain out of a room and pool around someone's shoes. You watch a guy realize he's standing in it. Lena wouldn't look at me. I didn't look at her either. I packed up my cart. Priya drifted over, eyes wide. "Whatever you're doing," she whispered. "Be careful." I smiled. "This is me being careful," I said. Saturday night, the storm finally rolled in off the water. Wind pushed the rain sideways hard enough it felt like handfuls of nails. Streetlights blurred, wipers couldn't keep up. Portland does this thing when it storms where the whole city goes quiet early. Restaurant lights go dim. Tourists run back to their hotels with takeout boxes clutched like babies. Daniel didn't go home to his wife. He went to his little rental on the east side, the one Lena hadn't told me about, but Jess basically had. I knew which house it was because Lena's texts mentioned that stupid fake coastal painting above your horrible rental couch, and the window in the kitchen that rattles when the furnace kicks on. I'm in maintenance. You give me 2 details like that, and I can find your address in under an hour. I didn't break in. I'm not stupid. I waited in my car across the street with the engine off and my hood up so I looked like every other guy with an old Escape praying it would start in November. At 9:15 p.m., Daniel came out in gym clothes with a duffel over his shoulder. Because of course he did. Of course he's the late-night grind guy. Gotta get those reps at 9 p.m. in a storm to prove you're disciplined, even if your knuckles are still swollen from slamming into my mirror. He locked his BMW with a chirp and jogged down the little steps to the driveway, head down against the rain. I got out of my car with a tire iron. I wasn't subtle. I walked right up to his precious black BMW, raised the tire iron, and brought it down on his left headlight. Plastic exploded. The noise cracked through the rain. He spun around and yelled like I'd shot his dog. "What the hell are you doing?" he screamed. I didn't answer. I swung again, right headlight this time. Glass and plastic burst and rained down like cheap jewels. The alarm started shrieking. Red lights strobed across the street, bouncing off wet pavement, making the whole night look like a low-budget cop show. Daniel charged me. He didn't think. He just charged. Good. I dropped the tire iron on purpose. I put my hands up like I was scared. I stepped back, letting him grab my jacket and slam me into the hood. The alarm wailed in both our faces. From across the street, a porch light clicked on. A neighbor stepped out, phone already up. "Hey!" she shouted. "Hey! I'm calling the cops!" "Call them!" I yelled back, just loud enough to cut through the alarm. "Please! He's been threatening me all day!" Daniel froze. He looked from me to the neighbor, then down at his hands on my jacket, then back up. In that second, his brain caught up. He let go like I was hot. "You psycho," he hissed. "You absolute psycho. What is wrong with you?" I smiled, slow. "You even think about contacting Lena again," I said, low and even under the squeal of his alarm. "And I walk over to your wife's place with a thumb drive. I will sit on her couch while she plugs it in. I will pour her a glass of water. I will be polite. Nod if you get me." His jaw clenched so hard a vein jumped in his temple. "Nod," I repeated. He nodded. "Good," I said. Then, and this part was just for me, not for cameras, not for neighbors, not for Lena, just for me, I slapped him. Open palm, sharp, right across the face. Not hard enough to break skin. I'm not trying to go to jail for assault, just hard enough to wring his ears and humiliate him. His eyes went wide with shock. Not pain. Shock. No one had touched him like that in a long, long time. Guys like him don't get slapped. They get emailed. "Hit me," he whispered, shaking. "Hit me again. Come on, hit me again. Give me an excuse." That's when I saw it for real. The thing Lena was worried about at 3 a.m., the old you she begged him not to go back to. He wanted to lose control. He wanted to swing. He wanted that so bad his hands were shaking, because if he swings, he gets to be the victim afterward. He gets to say, "He attacked me first." He gets to spin the story. "No," I said softly. "You don't get that. You don't get to feel better." Lena's headlights cut the corner then, whipping too fast down the flooded street. She parked half up on the curb and stumbled out. No umbrella, hair plastered to her face. "Daniel," she gasped. "Daniel, oh my God, what's happening? What are you doing? You can't." She saw the headlights on the BMW. She saw the neighbor filming. She saw me standing there calm, and Daniel shaking like a dog in a thunderstorm. Her face crumpled. "What did you do?" she whispered at me. I laughed. "What did I do?" I said. What did I do, Lena? Seriously. You can't keep doing this, she hissed. You can't just show up and, Evan, this is crazy. You're out of control. You're going to get in trouble. I'm in control, I said. She stared like she didn't recognize me. Good. Get a nice long look, sweetheart. I leaned in close enough for her to smell her own perfume on Daniel's jacket. You were going to sell my home out from under me, I whispered. You forged my signature on a $42,000 line. You were going to dump me with debt in my name and run off to play house with this guy while you told your sister and your mom and anyone else who would listen that you tried so hard, but I was just too much of a child to keep. You were going to ruin my life and call it self-care. Lena's mouth opened and closed like the world just slipped. That's not... I didn't... It's complicated, Evan. No, I said. It's not complicated. It's math. She looked at Daniel like maybe he'd step in and be her hero. Daniel was too busy rubbing his cheek and staring at his broken headlights, like I'd kicked his firstborn. You can't prove anything, Lena whispered, but it came out weak. I smiled. I don't have to prove anything yet, I said. The patrol car finally rolled slow past the corner. Lights were on, but siren was off. The officer in the passenger seat leaned out the window. Everything okay here? He called over the rain and the still screaming alarm. Yes, officer, I called back. My voice shook just enough. I'm the one who called. He showed up at my place last night and threatened me. I just want this documented. Daniel's head snapped toward me. You lying? Sir, the cop said, sharp. Hands where I can see them, please. Daniel threw his hands up. His knuckles were puffed and red. He looked wild. Are we done here? I asked him softly. He glared. He didn't answer. Which was an answer. Sunday morning, rain still ticking against the windows. Lena sat across from me at our kitchen table like we were negotiating a hostage release. Her eyes were puffy. She'd been crying. Not soft crying. Not manipulative crying. Ugly crying. Throat sounds. Snot. The whole thing. She'd washed her face and pulled her hair back, but you could still see the redness around her nose. She set her hands on the table like I was a cop, and she didn't want to make any sudden moves. I think, she said quietly, that we should be adults about this. I almost choked. Adults, I said. She swallowed. Yes, adults. We can end this clean. We can sell the condo, split it, and just walk. We don't have to do this to each other. We don't have to be ugly. We can just be done, okay? We can just be done. I leaned back in my chair and looked at her. You want to sell my condo? I said. Our condo, she corrected, too fast. My condo, I said again, calm. Evan, she said softly, like she was talking to a toddler. Please don't start with that. Please, I'm trying to make this as painless as possible for you, okay? Don't make this harder than it has to be. Painless. For me. God. Lena, I said, you're going to listen very carefully now, and you're going to fight the urge to interrupt me, because if you interrupt me, I will stand up, and this conversation will get loud enough to make the neighbors start texting each other again, and I don't think you want that. Her mouth snapped shut. Good. First, I said, you are not selling this condo. You're not listing it. You're not whispering about it to a realtor. You're not mentioning it to your sister. You're not breathing the idea in your sleep. This condo does not move. You walk. It stays. Understood. Her nostrils flared. You can't just... Second, I said, talking right over her. You are going to go into that group chat with Jess and your mom, the one where you've been trial ballooning the poor me narrative, and you are going to type, I lied. Evan is not a child. I did something wrong. I'm sorry. Word for word. You're going to send it. Then you're going to hand me the phone so I can see it went through. Her eyes went huge. You are insane, she whispered. Third, I said, you are going to text Daniel in front of me, and you are going to say, we're done. Don't contact me again. Then you're going to block him, permanently. If he reaches out from another number, you send it to me, immediately. Her breathing went ragged. You can't control who I talk to, she hissed. I can, I said, and I am. This is abuse, she spat. I laughed. I couldn't help it. I laughed so hard the table shook. This is abuse? I said. This is abuse. Lena, sweetheart, you forged my signature on a $42,000 line of credit. You planned to sell my home while I was still living in it. You slept with your boss while telling your sister I was basically your son. You were going to walk out and leave me with a debt load I can't float, and then cry to HR about how I yelled once when I found out. And you're going to sit here and say the word abuse to me like it's a magic wand. Are you serious? Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Stop," she whispered. "No," I said. She let out a little animal sound. "This isn't you," she whispered. "You're scaring me." "Good," I said. She stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. Maybe she was. Because that old, safe version of me, the one who'd fix her car and rub her feet after a long day and make her salmon and listen to her talk about work drama like it was national security, that guy died in a hotel parking lot Friday night. What sat across from her now, arms folded, voice steady, was someone she built out of spare parts. "You think I'm playing?" I asked. She shook her head, slow. "Then pick up your phone," I said. Her jaw clenched. Her shoulders shook like she was freezing. She reached for her phone with shaking hands. Her thumbs hesitated over the screen for a long second. Then she typed, "I'm sorry I lied. This wasn't Evan's fault. I hurt him. I'm sorry." She showed it to me. "Send," I said. She hit send. 3 dots popped up almost instantly from Jess. "Oh my God, are you okay? What is happening?" I smiled. "Now Daniel," I said. She froze again. "Evan," she whispered, tears slipping down her face. "Please, please, please don't make me do this, please, I need him. I can't go back to how it was. I can't breathe in here anymore. You don't understand. Every time I walk in this door I smell you and I feel trapped. I feel like I'm dying. Please. I just need something that's mine. I just need someone to choose me for once. Please." For a second, something moved in my chest. Not sympathy, not pity, just recognition. We'd been done a long time. Way before last night, before the second phone, before the credit line. I just didn't want to see it because seeing it meant admitting I'd been sleeping next to a stranger for months. But here's the part she doesn't get. You don't get to burn me down to build yourself a little cabin by the ocean. You want to leave? Leave. You don't get to salt my ground on the way out. Text him, I said. Her shoulders shook. She typed, "We're done. Don't contact me again." She hit send. I watched her do it. Then I said, "Block him." She did. Then she set the phone on the table and covered her face with both hands and sobbed. Not pretty sobs. Full body sobs. Shoulders heaving, sounds ripping out of her like fabric tearing. I let her cry. I sat there and watched my wife shake apart at our kitchen table and I felt nothing. No, that's not true. I felt steady. I felt focused. I felt like I had both hands on the wheel for the first time in days. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Meet me tonight. Level 3, 9 p.m. Come alone. I didn't have to ask who it was. I smiled. "What's so funny?" Lena gasped through her hands. "Nothing," I said. "We're almost done." Sunday night, 9 p.m. Same garage, same concrete, same wind, same taste of wet metal in the air, same hum. I showed up early. I texted Alana on my way over. Me. "Hey, doing a favor for Priya. Might be a situation with Hart in the Harborview garage. He seemed pretty spun yesterday. Any chance you can swing by around 9 just to keep an eye on things? Off the record. Alana. I'll be in the area." That was good enough. I parked on level 3, same spot where I dropped his keys 2 nights ago. I leaned against the pillar, hands in my jacket pockets, hood up against the mist. At 9:07, Daniel's rental pulled up. Not the BMW. That one was still bleeding out in his driveway. This was some economy sedan from a chain lot. Bland, forgettable, perfect for a man in cleanup mode. He got out fast. He looked wrecked, eyes red, face hollow, knuckles swollen, tie loose. Shirt wrinkled in a way that said he hadn't had time to iron, not in a "I'm so laid back" way. He looked less like a VP and more like a guy who'd been sleeping on a stranger's couch. "You're done," he said as soon as his door shut. No hello, no warm-up, straight to threat. "Do you hear me? You're done. You have no idea what you just did to your life. I hope you enjoyed your little show because you just tanked your wife's career and you just tanked yours and you just made yourself look like a psychopath in front of every single person who matters. You think you can just embarrass me like that and walk away? You think you can just walk into my life and—" He moved in close. Too close. He tried to chest up. He tried to use size and proximity to make me step back. I didn't step. I smelled his breath, bitter coffee, old adrenaline. That's when I realized something that made me want to laugh. He was terrified of me. Not because I'm big, I'm average, not because I hit hard. I hadn't even punched him. He was terrified because I wasn't playing by his rules. People like Daniel live in email and implication. They make threats shaped like performance reviews. They ruin you quietly and shake their head like they're sad about it. They don't know what to do when someone like me drags them into a concrete box and says, "Say it with your chest." "You think you can take my life," he hissed, spit flying. You think you can just take my life and ruin it and walk away? You think you can threaten me? You think you can touch me? You think you can talk to me like that in front of my peers? You think you can just... He shoved me, hard. My back hit the cold concrete pillar. Pain flared in my shoulder. Good. Keep going, I said softly. He blinked. You know that moment when an animal realizes the thing it's chasing isn't prey? That. His face flickered. You're going to fix this, he said, but now there was a wobble in his voice he couldn't hide. You're going to go to HR, and you're going to say you misunderstood, and you're going to say you were dealing with emotional distress, okay, and you lashed out, and you're going to apologize for involving the company, and you're going to promise you won't make any more trouble, and you're going to tell HR you are seeking counseling, and you are going to stay the hell away from me and Lena, and you are going to... That was it. That was the sentence. You hear it too, right? And you are going to stay the hell away from me and Lena? I started laughing. Right in his face, he went red. You think this is funny? He spat. I think it's adorable, I said. He tried to shove me again. I moved first. I'm not a fighter. I never pretended to be. But I handle heavy things all day. Doors that stick, panels that jam, compressors that don't want to shift. You learn leverage. You learn angles. You learn where force matters and where it doesn't. I grabbed his wrist, turned, and let his own forward momentum carry him. He slammed into the hood of his rental with a shout. His cheek bounced off the metal with a dull thud. I pressed my forearm across his collarbone and leaned, not choking, not crushing, just holding, controlling. He thrashed. I held. Evan, he gasped. Stop. Stop. This is assault, you psycho. Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. I'm going to sue you. I am going to end you. I am going to... Listen, I said in his ear. He writhed. Listen, I said again, a little more pressure. He went still. Here's how this goes, I whispered. You are going to send HR an email at 8 a.m. tomorrow requesting personal leave for mental health reasons. Use those exact words. You are going to vanish from HarborGen. You're going to ghost. You're going to let them think you're unstable. You're going to make it easy for them to cut you loose. You're going to disappear on your own so I don't have to shove you. He made a strangled noise. You are going to stay away from Lena, I continued. Forever. You are not going to text her, call her, email her, send her memes, DM her on any platform, or drive past her office just to check in. You're done. Nod if you understand me. He didn't nod. I brought my forehead down next to his ear and slammed my fist, not into him, but into the windshield of his rental. The glass spiderwebbed with a sound like a gunshot. The alarm started screaming. Lights flashed. Rain blew in through the open side of the garage and turned the flashing red lights into streaks across the wet concrete, like something out of a bad dream. Daniel flinched so hard his whole body jerked under my arm. He nodded. Good, I said. He was breathing so fast, his chest hit my forearm in little rabbit punches. Now, I said, you are going to go home to your wife, and you are going to tell her everything before I do. All of it, every detail, every lie, every hotel, every text, every plan. You are going to confess like it's church and you're buying your soul back at retail. Because if you don't, I will do it for you, and I will make sure her sisters are there when I do. Nod if you understand me. He nodded again, eyes squeezed shut. Great, I said. I let him go. He staggered back, one hand flying to his throat like I'd strangled him even though I hadn't. People like him always act like they've been strangled when all you did was move their world an inch. He looked at me with hate so pure it was almost clean. You don't get to win, he whispered. I already did, I said. You're trash, he spat. You're nothing. You're a maintenance guy. You're a joke. She told me. She told me how you live. She told me how you think. She told me how small you are. You're a project. You're pity. You're a favor she did for herself in her 20s that she outgrew. You're... I slapped him again. Open palm. Sharp crack. Not for him. For me. He stumbled into the side of the car and caught himself on the door handle with his swollen right hand. He hissed, face twisting. Tiny tip, I said calmly. Don't talk about my marriage like it's a charity case while you're standing in front of your second car with 2 screaming alarms and a face print on the hood. Bad optics. He bared his teeth. You're insane, he whispered. Yeah, I said. So I've heard. He opened his mouth to say something else. Then headlights swept across the ramp. Alana's SUV rolled up slow, window halfway down, security vest visible even off shift. Everything all right up here? She called over the 2 screaming alarms. Her voice carried like a warning. Daniel's mouth snapped shut. He straightened his shirt fast, pushed his hair back, tried to paste his executive face back on. It didn't fit right anymore. It hung wrong. "We're fine," he said, voice too high. "Just talking. We're fine. We were leaving." "Uh-huh," Alana said. She looked at me. Her eyes asked a question. "Are you good?" I nodded once. She nodded back and destroyed her headlights. Daniel glared at me like he'd chew my skin off. "You think this is over?" he breathed. "It's over for you," I said. He swallowed hard enough I saw his throat jump. Then he got into his car, hands shaking so bad he needed 2 tries to get the key in the ignition, and peeled out down the ramp with both alarms still wailing, windshield cracked like a spider egg. The sound echoed in the concrete long after he was gone. For a second, the only light was Alana's dashboard glow. The only sound was the rain hissing through the open side of the garage and the click of cooling metal from where Daniel's hood had taken his face. "Want to tell me what that was?" Alana said, voice low. "Nope," I said. She snorted. "Be careful," she said. "I'm always careful," I said. She shook her head like, "Yeah, sure," then rolled back down the ramp. Then it was just me and the echo in the cold air. For a minute, I let myself feel it. Not joy, not victory, not triumph. None of those movie words. I felt empty in a way that felt honest. Like someone had cut out the rotted part of me and left a hole. The hole felt better than the rot. I stood there in that hum for maybe 30 seconds. Then I heard a car door slam on the lower level. Lena's voice floated up the ramp. "Daniel," she called, panic already in it. "Daniel, are you here? Daniel, please just answer me, please." And I smiled. Lena came up the ramp fast, shoes slipping on wet concrete, hair frizzing in the mist. Her eyes were wild. Her mascara had started to run in black half-moons under her eyes. She looked less like a polished comms director and more like someone who'd just run out of a bad dream and didn't know where she was. She saw me. She stopped like she'd hit a wall. Her chest rose and fell like she'd been sprinting. "What did you do?" she whispered. I didn't move. "Where is he?" she demanded, voice breaking. "Where is he? What did you do to him, Evan?" "He's gone," I said. She swallowed. Her eyes flicked to the cracked windshield, the fresh dent in the hood, the small smear of skin oil on the metal where Daniel's cheek had bounced. "You destroyed him," she whispered. I almost laughed. "No," I said. "I let him show himself." She made a wounded sound. "You can't keep doing this," she said, voice shaking. "You can't. This isn't you. This isn't who you are." "You're right," I said. She blinked, caught. "This," I said, gesturing at the screaming alarms, the cracked glass, the empty ramp where Daniel had peeled out like a scared teenager, the whole shaking concrete box, "is who you built." Her face crumpled. "Evan," she whispered, "please, please, we don't have to. We can end this. We can just walk. We can sell clean. We can both just walk. We don't have to torch each other. We don't have to burn everything down. Please, please, let's just stop. I'm begging you, let's just stop. I can't breathe like this." There it was again. "I can't breathe. Not, I'm sorry. Not, I hurt you. Not, I shouldn't have done that. I can't breathe. Her comfort, her air, her. Always her." "You don't get to say stop," I said quietly. "You don't get to turn off the fire when you're the one who lit it under my bed." Tears spilled down her face. "You don't understand," she whispered. "You don't. You think this is just cheating. It's not. I was drowning. I was screaming for you for years and you didn't hear me. You don't want anything. You don't dream. You don't push. You fix things and you sit down and you watch the same shows and you go to the same bar and you talk to the same 3 people and you act like that's enough. I am 34 years old and I woke up one day and realized I was going to die in the same 200-foot circle you love so much. I can't. I can't. I can't live like that. I can't die in that circle. I can't breathe there." Her voice cracked into a sob. For a second, I almost reached for her. For a second. Then I remembered her message to Daniel at 3:03 a.m. "Promise me you're not going back to the old version of you. I can't handle the mood swings. Not, I love you. Not, we're in this together. Promise me you won't be scary, Daniel. Promise me you'll be safe enough for me to use you." She didn't love him. She loved what he could do for her story. She didn't love me. She loved what I did for her stability. It hit me like a cold wave. I was never a husband to her. I was an appliance. "It wasn't about dreams," I said, voice flat. "It was about control. You wanted me stable, predictable, easy to explain. You wanted him exciting, ambitious, easy to brag about. You didn't want either of us. You wanted both stories, And you thought you could run them side by side until you were ready to switch channels. She flinched, like I'd slapped her. That's not fair, she whispered. It's accurate, I said. She put her face in her hands for a long second. Her shoulders shook. Her breath came out in harsh bursts. When she looked back up, her eyes were red and raw. Why are you doing this to me? She whispered. Such a simple question. So honest. Why are you doing this to me? Not, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? I smiled. Because you already did it to me, I said softly. I'm just letting you feel it. Her mouth opened, then closed. Rain pushed through the open side of the garage and hit the cracked windshield in a stuttering patter. The alarms screamed. Red light strobed across her face, highlighting the wet tracks of her tears, making her look like she'd been painted in warning signs. Somewhere below us, a car door slammed. Far off, down Commercial, a foghorn bellowed long and low. Lena wiped her face with her palms. Now what? She whispered. Now, I said. You walk away from the condo, quiet. No listing, no realtor, no sob story to Jess about how I'm holding you hostage. You keep paying on that $42,000 until it's gone. You don't touch my credit again, ever. You go to work Monday and you smile like nothing happened. You stand in those meetings with those people and you keep your head up and you live with the way they look at you, because you earned it. You don't call me. You don't text me unless it's about paperwork. You don't ask Jess to check on me. You just leave. She stared at me like she was trying to process a language she didn't speak. That's not fair, she whispered. It's more fair than what you had planned, I said. Her throat worked. Karma's going to get you, she said suddenly, desperation pushing the words out. You can't just do all this to people and think you get to walk away. The universe doesn't let you. You can't just be the bad guy and win. You can't. That's not how life works, Evan. I laughed. Loud. Real. It echoed off the concrete and bounced around us and rang in my own ears. Who's talking about walking away? I said. She blinked. I stepped in close, so close she had to tip her head back to see my eyes. So close I could see every fleck of mascara stuck in the wet at the corners. You think I'm doing this to win, I said, voice low. No, Lena. I'm doing this because you already decided I was the villain in your story. You already wrote me that way. You already told your sister and your mom and your boyfriend that I was the lazy man-child you were trapped with. You already painted me as the bad guy. I'm just playing the part. Her lips trembled. She swallowed. For the first time in 3 days, she had no answer. Nobody was coming to save her. Daniel was gone. Jess couldn't fix this. HR couldn't fix this. Her careful little narrative was lying in pieces on the cracked windshield of a rental car in a half-lit garage that smelled like wet concrete and burnt rubber. And I was standing in front of her, calm, breathing steady, owning every inch of what I'd done. I turned. I walked away. I didn't look back. I didn't give her a last line to twist into a monologue later. I didn't give her a closing scene she could retell to make herself sound brave. I didn't do the Hollywood thing and whisper something like, "We're done here," with the music swelling. I walked. Rain blew in hard enough it felt like handfuls of needles. The red alarm light strobed across the wet floor in pulsing bands. My boots splashed through shallow puddles of oil rainbow water. Behind me, Lena's voice finally broke. "Daniel!" She yelled into the night, panic raw and high like a siren. "Daniel, answer me! Daniel, where are you? Daniel!" Her voice cracked. No answer came. None would. Her plea bounced around the concrete and died cold. That was it. That was the moment. Not when I slapped him. Not when I cracked his windshield. Not when I made Lena text her sister and tell the truth. That was the moment. Her voice echoing in an empty garage, calling a man who wasn't going to answer, while the alarms screamed and the rain hammered, and the whole fake life she'd built for herself folded in on itself like a bad tent. I kept walking. My heart felt steady. My head felt clear. My hands felt weirdly light. I wasn't healed. Don't get cute. This is not a redemption arc. I didn't feel better. I didn't feel free. I felt carved out, hollowed, honest, dangerous in a way I hadn't known I could be. I thought about what I'd told her on Thursday night. Don't worry, I've got company too. I hadn't been lying. The company was the part of me she'd spent years sanding down so I'd fit the shape she wanted. Now he was here, and I liked him. I walked down the ramp, through the screaming alarms, into the rain and the strobing light and the cold October night, and I didn't look back.